What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we're going to be revisiting the topic of leveling up in Pokemon Go, and specifically talking about the requirements that you have to do for level 41 through level 50, and anything and everything that you can do to prepare now for a future level. So of course, it should be a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and pick on myself a little bit. So I'm currently working on level 45, and some of these tasks I was not prepared for, because to be honest, I wasn't looking ahead, which I totally should have been doing, and it would have cost me a lot less Stardust, but my loss is going to end up being your gain. But if we go ahead and jump back to it, for example, this one took forever for me personally, because I wasn't buying any rocket radars and just kind of doing it free to play or whatever. It took forever, and to just kind of put it into scope, I ended up getting almost 14 million experience faster than me completing this entire requirement. So like I said, it can definitely be a time investment, but in today's episode, we are of course establishing the guide, and you can go ahead and start working on some things now to make it easier for in the future. But anyways, if you do enjoy this episode, make sure to turn that like button shiny, and of course subscribe if you want to stay up to date and continue to view the Pokemon Go videos. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's go ahead and start off with the level 41 requirements. And the first one is to power up a legendary Pokemon 20 times. So what exactly do you need to be able to complete this? A legendary Pokemon that you can power up 20 times. Now, jokes aside, what I mean by this is if you end up powering up anything and everything along the way, and then you use all of your candy, for example, right before you get to this task, you're kind of stuck in the water, and you may be one of those people that gets real tempted to maybe do it to the current raid boss, and the current raid boss isn't meta relevant. So anything and everything that you sink into this task, I would highly recommend you to try to make it in relation to a meta relevant Pokemon, something like a Mewtwo, something like a Kyogre, Groudon. Anything and everything that you can do with that is going to be a great one. And of course, hopefully, if I'm catching you quick enough, you can keep this in mind, and when a meta relevant Pokemon comes out, you can hold on to it and then power it up here. So if we go ahead and move on, we've got win 30 raids. So something that I want to at least mention to you is you don't have to just do legendary raids. You can focus on level 3 raids, level 1 raids. And the cool thing about that is you're going to be able to solo them, and you can take advantage of the 2 free raid passes that you get per day. And if you want to invite friends out, like with this Heracross, go out there and try to get it yourself, and then maybe invite some friends to it. But I would highly recommend to prioritize those free raid passes along the way, and then consider using some of the paid ones like the remote raid passes. But if you can use the free ones, then by all means, this is going to be the perfect timing for you. Up next, we've got the catch 200 Pokemon in a single day. Single-handedly, the best way to do this is to actually just go out there for a community day. That's going to be by far best way you can do this, because you get 6 hours of boosted Pokemon spawns. You could focus on something like a spotlight hour, but of course that's going to be dependent upon your location, how many Pokemon tend to spawn throughout that hour. I went out and did the Magnemite spotlight hour recently, and I was able to get over 200 Pokemon throughout that. But if you go out and do that, you can get it done in an hour, and the spotlight hours happen 4 times a month instead of just once a month. So you can go out and do that. And if you end up being up a little bit short of it, then just hang out and play for, 30 more minutes, 40 more minutes or whatever. And hopefully you can end up getting that. So hopefully that ends up being helpful. Now we can go ahead and move on to the level 42 requirements. And we've got evolve Eevee into each of its unique evolutions. But this is a little bit of a trick, because guess what? We got an update from Niantic that you are officially going to have Sylveon as the evolution for the level 42 requirements. A little bit unfortunate, but now that we know that ahead of time, you can first go ahead and save your name trick for the Sylveon once you're ready to evolve up to it once you get to this task. Or you can go ahead and prepare an Eevee, get yourself the 70 Buddy Heart interactions that you would have to do. And then maybe if you get lucky during the Eevee Community Day, you could line it up to where you only have to do the 7 interactions throughout the Eevee Community Day weekend to line it up. But that's going to be very time dependent. So unfortunately, Sylveon has been added, which makes it a little bit more difficult. So there's 2 things that you can do to prep. The first one is going to be to walk 2 of the evolutions that require walking distance of 10 kilometers set as your best buddy. And that is Espeon and Umbreon. I actually named mine Walk because I walked it. I did not evolve it. I waited until I got to these 42 requirements, and then I went ahead and pulled the trigger on that one. And then the other thing that you can do, funny enough, is to have Eevees. Like for example, if I were to go into this task, I don't have enough EVs to be able to complete this. Like I said before, you are going to need 7 EVs to be able to complete this task. So if I catch you before EV Community Day, then you want to make sure that you hold off at least 7, put a favorite on them, something like that, so that you can have them ready to go. But anyways, we go ahead and move on. We've got the use items. And of course, there's going to be 2 preparations that you can do. The first one is to actually start getting the items and holding on to them. I tend to hold at least 5 of these, and you can get them from completing your 7-day streak on Pokestops guaranteed, or you can randomly get them from Pokestop spins. And then of course you've got like the Sinnoh Stone and Unova Stone. So if you want to just really increase your chances, what you can do is go out there and battle. If you get 2 wins, you get a random item. They're either going to be TMs, for example, or they could end up being those evolution items. And then the second thing is to actually have the Pokemon that can use the stones and start keeping like an inventory of those Pokemon, such as Porygon, for example. We would need to use that Sinnoh Stone there. So you need the Pokemon, and of course you need the items as well. Up next, we've got make 3 excellent throws. Not going to be a big deal. And then use 200 berries to help catch your Pokemon. If you're interested in that, I would recommend using some Golden Raz on legendary raids. That of course will count. And because they pop out a lot, you don't have to do it to 200 Pokemon. You have to use the berry 200 times. So you could get out there and get 20 balls on a single legendary Pokemon. And if you were to use a berry on every single throw, then you've already knocked out 20. So you would theoretically only have to do 20 of those legendary raids to be able to do that. So that's what I would recommend here. And then maybe Pineapple berries on some rare Pokemon as well. Could be a fun way to kind of do that. So let's go and move on to level 43 requirements. We've got earn 100,000 Stardust. That's just earning 100,000 Stardust. Of course, catch a ton of Pokemon. But I also want to mention that you can gain a lot of Stardust from getting in there and doing PvP. Now, a lot of people may not like PvP, but I'm telling you right now, you can get up to 25 to 35, maybe even more Stardust, especially if you're putting in a lot of wins in a single day just from playing PvP, and you don't even have to catch a single Pokemon. So if you're stuck at home, then by all means, make sure that you are using PvP as a potential option. Up next, we've got using 200 super effective charge attacks. So the best way to do this is to go out there, find a gym that has the hearts all the way up. That way you can go through the set of Pokemon a total of what would be 18 times if all 6 Pokemon are up there. And then you want to make sure that you're using a Pokemon that can get off its charge move. And for example, you want to use something that's extremely spammy. So one of my favorite Pokemon that's extremely spammy is probably Lucario, a spammy Pokemon that can get its charge move off quickly. That way you're not accidentally beating the Pokemon before you can end up getting that charge move off. That can be a little bit unfortunate. So we're going to go ahead and move on. We've got catch 5 legendary Pokemon. You don't necessarily have to do legendary raids to be able to do this. Once again, you can end up getting it as an encounter if you are up to the rank 20 in PvP. The 3rd win is something that you can end up getting. Like as you can see here, we've got Palkia in the list. So PvP is something that I honestly think is underutilized, something that you really should end up focusing on. So let's go ahead and move on to level 44 requirements. We've got the win trainer battles in Great League, Ultra League, and then finally in Master League. So to just kind of blow through this very quickly, what you can do is just battle against another friend in those different leagues. But remember, this is you winning the battles. So your opponent is going to be the one doing this, where they're going to just get some really small Pokemon and just throw them in there. And then once you end up battling them, you're going to go right through this. I think I actually finished this in less than an hour, even all 90 of those battles. So you can definitely do it very quickly. And so level 44 was a breeze, moved on right past that. Level 45 requirements. Oh my gosh, this one was so rough. You have to defeat 100 Team Go Rocket Grunts. That was not as bad. The Purifying Shadow Pokemon is extremely expensive because if you're not prepared for this one, it can cost you an arm and a leg. So I want to at least show you something that I think is going to end up being helpful here. So I'm going to go ahead and filter onto Shadow Pokemon and showcase what you can start focusing on now. If you go ahead and start saving up all of the Shadow Pokemon that only cost 100 or 1,000 Stardust to purify, then the least amount you can do is 100,000 Stardust to purify 100 Shadow Pokemon, and that is by far the most ideal. So go ahead and check this out here. We've got Magikarp in here. That's just 100 to purify. We've got Poochyena in here, 100 to purify, or 1,000 to purify. And yeah, so definitely holding on to those. Aeron is another one in there. And if you start doing that now, you're going to save yourself Stardust. And then next, you've got defeat a Team Go Rocket leader 50 times. Oh man, that was rough. And that was the thing that I have been stuck on for the longest time. And because of that, what this means is you doing that 50 times, you have to at least do 300 Team Go Rocket grunt battles to be able to complete this. And there's really no preparation that you can do besides maybe saving up some coins and dedicating it to the Go Rocket radar. That's like really the only thing that I would personally recommend instead of just outright buying them. You can like save up some coins, for example, and then go into the shop, but they do cost 200 coins, so that can be very expensive. But this was one that I'm so glad that I'm about to put it behind me for sure. And then let's see if it ends up getting easier. We've got level 46 requirements, complete 100 field research task. If you can stack up tasks, that's going to be an easy way to get it done where the tasks end up being the same. So I do kind of have an example, but unfortunately a little bit difficult to complete now because of the spawns. But I've got 2 catch a ditto. So if I catch a ditto, I complete 2 there. So if you can stack them up, that's going to be great. We got to take a snapshot. No tips on that. Just remind yourself to do that. Make 50 excellent throws. That's just excellent throws. It's not in a row or anything. And then we've got hatch 30 eggs. So if you can somehow time up the EV community day or any sort of community day or event that ends up doing like the 1/4 egg hatching distance or some sort of decrease, then yeah, that's going to be the time to kind of take advantage of that. That way you can get as many eggs done as you possibly can and do it pretty painlessly. Because I think the most ideal way to do it is to get the shortest distance possible or to just use incubators, but I'm not going to recommend that since that is kind of like pay to play there. Up next, we've got win 30 raids using a team of unique Pokemon. That's not going to be hard to do. If you don't want to do it yourself and solo it, that could be fun. Go into a legendary raid boss and just use different Pokemon. That way you can kind of knock that out. Win a 3-star raid using only Pokemon with 1500 CP or less. You don't have to do that yourself. You have to just do it with Pokemon below 1500 CP. So if you go in and do a level 3 raid that can be soloed, then you just have someone else do the raid and then you just bring in those Pokemon to be able to complete that task. So that's not going to be that bad. Power up 3 Pokemon to their max CP. Woo, that's going to be a hard one for me. But what I would recommend you to do now is if you are before this level and you're real excited, for example, about like powering up a Shadow Mewtwo up to level 50, maybe just power it up to level 49.5. Because you have to do it once you get to this kind of step. So that's at least what I'm doing. I'm holding off on this Pokemon. I'm not quite enough XL candy, but once I end up getting to it, I'm going to at most go up to level 49.5 and then wait, and then I will end up evolving it. Up next, we've got the earn 20 platinum medals. One of the easiest way to do this is to focus on catching the different Pokemon types. Since we have 18 types, you can get very close to that platinum medal. Moving up to level 48, it's kind of moving a little bit quicker. Receive 10 souvenirs from your buddy, so you have to get to a certain level. Best buddies are able to do this, for example. Earn 300 hearts with your buddy. So, of course, if you can start doing the AR task and saving up for the Poffins, that could end up being the best way to do this. So you can knock it out very quickly. You put on a Poffin, you earn those hearts, you get out there and play, and you can do it pretty quickly. Walk 200 kilometers with your buddy. That's simply going to take some time. So I totally get it. And then next, you've got to walk 25 kilometers in a week 8 times. And that's going to take 8 weeks to do. So no matter what, once you make it to level 48, it will at least take you 2 months to be able to do this, which in my opinion is okay because it gives you a little bit of a time to kind of slow down. And of course, you've got the experience to worry about anyways, especially if you're short. Then up next, we got level 49 requirements. You got make 10 trades with Pokemon caught at least 300 kilometers apart. That sucks. But what you can do is if you end up raiding abroad, if you're doing like a Heracross raid or a legendary raid, and it's more than 300 kilometers apart, then of course you're good to go on that one. That's at least what I would recommend. Obtain 50 lucky Pokemon in trades. There's really not too much you can do to prepare for that, besides maybe keeping a set of Pokemon that you're ready to trade. But another thing you could do is trade with people who have newer Pokemon, and you could trade away your old Pokemon. That's the only way that I know of to increase your chances of the lucky trades is to use your old Pokemon for someone's newer Pokemon that you've never traded with before, or getting those lucky friends. Sending 500 gifts, I don't really have any tips for that one in particular. The getting 35 platinum medals seems a little bit daunting on the surface, but there are some things that you can do from just simply playing the game beyond just focusing specifically on how you're going to get the remainders to it. So for example, just catching Pokemon in Pokemon Go, you have to get up to 2,500 Pokemon of a particular type to finally get yourself up to platinum. And I've got 2 different Pokemon types that I'm very close to getting 2,500 of that to get to a platinum medal. So I'm sure by the time I make it up to that level, I'll have the ghost done for sure, and I'll definitely have the fairy type done for sure. Am I going to have ice and dragon? It really just depends on the spawns going on. I even went out there for the Gible Community Day and still did not get up to the platinum for the dragon typing, but getting these is 18 that are pretty doable, minus maybe 1 or 2 depending upon where you live. And then of course you have some other ones that are going to happen from you just simply playing the game, such as the Kanto. You've got the collector of catching 50,000 Pokemon. By the time you make it to this level, odds are you've already completed that. You've got evolving Pokemon. Back in the day, if you played a long time ago, evolving was something pretty easy to do. And then of course you've got like completing field research. You've got becoming best friends with trainers. You've got battling in Great League. I recommend doing that, like the battling in Great League, battling in Ultra League, battling in Master League. I'm pretty close to hitting it. You only have to have 1,000 battles. So if you're interested in PvP, that could be kind of an easy thing to do. And then beyond that, the other thing that I would do is take a look at whatever task you have going on that are pretty close to being completed. And then of course, go ahead and prioritize those because they're so close to being platinum. For example, I'm pretty close to the breeder of hatching 2,500 eggs. So that's of course something that's going to happen naturally, but it is something that I need to be aware of. In this particular case, I've got 99 out of 100 Pokemon from the Johto region. So I need to make sure that I go ahead and finish up the Johto Pokédex there. Pokédexes are a great way to kind of finish this out. And you just have to kind of like take a look at that. I probably should do the Fisher challenge and then the Tiny Rattata. You can do those through trades. And then finally, level 50 requirements. You're not going to be able to do anything to prepare for the excellent throws. Catching a legendary Pokemon in your next 5 legendary encounters. Pretty interesting. So that means I guess like catching 5 in a row. So just make sure you take your time on that one and use the circle lock trick. And then defeat a Team Go Rocket leader 3 times using Pokemon with 2,500 CP or less. For the longest time, by the way, I've been using Lucario to be able to do that. So I did recently power it up, so I'm kind of out of luck on this one because I did eventually power it up past 2,500 CP, but Lucario is definitely going to be one that can end up helping you with that. But anyways, I know this was a longer video, but I really do think it is important, especially if people are trying to get ahead of the game and kind of prepare more for it. I think it was helpful for me to walk through as well because yes, I'm about to reach level 45, but I can take a look, of course, at the future requirements, and I think it is going to be helpful. But I definitely want to hear the additional tips that you have in the comment section below that you can give for newer trainers that are about to go upon this journey, especially if you are level 50. Let us know anything and everything that you wish you knew making it up to level 50. And of course, I will see you next time, but not without saying thank you so much to the supporters over at Patreon and the members of the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. If you want to support the channel, make sure to check out the link in the description. And of course, join the exclusive Discord server, and I will see you next time.